Have you ever had a feeling and then within nanoseconds, your brain created a whole story around that one, literal one, raw physical sensation? A lot of us had these type of experiences, and that's okay. However, it really says something about your brain, about the direction of your own conscious mind, of your own conscious brain. And each of these stories that we are creating about our internal experiences, a lot of the times, they turn into an outward action or outward behavior that is then creating the reality. No. The feeling itself is neutral. So the raw sensation is neutral. The story is not. And I want you to really experience that for yourself. That the physical sensation that you are currently feeling, let's say maybe when you're watching that video or when whatever's happening outside of you or within you, because we also respond to our internal temperature, so to speak, and our internal dialogue as well. And that creates certain internal environment within us. So these are not neutral. So the stories are never neutral. And the stories are your brain predictive capacity, which is helpful to a degree. Because your brain, our brains are limited. Our conscious brains are limited, not in a, again, mystical way, but in a neuroscientific way. So your brain's job, your conscious brain job, is to keep you safe. Keep you surviving. Now, whatever keeping you safe and keeping you surviving mean for your particular brain predictions, that's the story generator for you. So let's look at the soup that you had been washed over, that you had been, or even washed under, I don't know, the soup that you had been bathing in since you were little. And I'm not only talking about the parents, guys, because the parents are only one aspect of the plethora of aspects that actually brought you up. We're talking about the caregivers, we're talking about the family dynamics, the whole family, not only your immediate family, which I mean are your parents or caregivers. I'm talking about your culture, I'm talking about the country, I'm talking about the geography, I'm talking about your neighborhood, I'm talking about your school, I'm talking about your peers. All this, that's your soup, that's your conditioning, that's what creates a certain predictions that your brain is learning about the reality. So your conscious brain, you're being born, it's learning about the reality. This is what's available for me. This is how relationships work. Oh, this is how friendships work. You're learning that. Your conscious brain is absorbing that data because it needs to survive and it needs to stay safe. Again, there's nothing mystical about it. This is just, again, a pure biology. I mean, you can make it mystical if you want to, for sure. You can make a mystical language out of this purely biological and neuroscientific language. Yes, if you wish to, and if that's helpful for you, please go on and do it. However, these are still facts, no matter what language you're using. So if the soup that you had been bathing in since your early childhood is that of trauma, is that of insecurity, is that of poverty, your brain will keep on predicting that. So let's go back to our emotional states as well. So you have a feeling, your conscious brain is predicting poverty, trauma, insecurity. the story. So the moment you feel something, that story is activated. It's almost like, story, okay, poverty, okay, I'm gonna be broke again until the end of this month. I am falling again in love with this, person that is actually not, I think, loving me back. Oh, the friendships have fallen apart. Well, this is normal for me. This is what I'm used to. That is the story generated. That these are not facts. No, because healthy people are everywhere. Just like there's some people who are, let's say, not as healthy, yeah? But there's an availability and abundance of both. Your interpretation of your internal signals, so your brain direction, your conscious brain direction, is choosing from the abundance of different things and different potentials and different possibilities, not in a mystical way, but in a factual way. You're choosing that. You're choosing the experiences. You're engaging with the same people, you get the same results. You engage with the similar situations, you get the similar outcomes. You engaging with similar habits, you're getting the same years of life. Again, nothing mystical, just pure biology, pure logic. Actually, when you think about it, there's basically a cause and effect to that in a way. So when you are directing your conscious mind, you're cutting off the story. Or not, okay, sorry, that's probably not the good word, cutting off. No, you're investigating. That's a better word. You're investigating the story. So you are feeling something or something has happened, and you look at the interpretation of that happening, yeah? So you think, okay, this has happened, and I can see how my brain is interpreting that neutral situation. So I am gonna ask myself about the facts. What has actually happened? So who said what? What has been said? And what is the situation at hand? So you look at the facts. Now, look at the story. You're going to notice that the story is dramatic. The story, a lot of the times, is very flowery. A lot of the times is very emotional, especially if you are triggered. And that story keeps on giving. You will see that it's like, because the moment you start creating a story about a feeling in your body or a particular situation, you will see like, my God, it just keeps on giving. I'm even more of a victim. I'm even more poor than I even thought I was. It's even worse than I think it was when that feeling had started. So those emotions and those internal states, they don't have a room for breathe. They don't have a breathing room to actually, for you to create, quote unquote, something different, to create a different experience for yourself. That's why the direction of your conscious mind is crucial when you are growing, when you are healing, when you are building a new skill. And that is the skill of, like I said, the direction of your conscious mind. So investigate the story. Now, depending on your starting point, for some of you guys who had been through a lot, you have to investigate a lot, and that's okay. Give yourself grace and give yourself a lot of love. I mean, true love as in not being, I will allow other people to walk all over me. No, I mean the love that is respecting other people's choices, but also respect your choices, respecting priorities of other people and respecting your own priorities, etc. That's love. That's unconditional love for yourself and for the other. Respect. Yes? So once you start tapping and seeing those stories, you're going to see how those stories are driving your behavior, are driving your actions, are driving a lot of things in your life. And that can feel overwhelming. And that's okay, because your nervous system can take it. You are learning, again, your nervous system to be like, okay, now I need to really take responsibility for the stories that I've created in my life that are not serving me, and I will investigate them. And yes, there might be a lot, but I can do that little by little, one by one. And not to create new stories, but actually seeing what emerges without that immediate interpretation. So actually look at the situation at hand, and maybe there's nothing for you to do, nothing for you to behave, maybe even differently. Maybe there's just for you a moment to pause, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to see what's going to happen. Allowing again the tolerance for the uncertainty, because when you're going to be investigating the stories, yeah, there'll be a lot of uncertainty, because suddenly you don't know how the story ends. Because for a lot of you guys, again, the story ends in poverty, the story ends in heartbreak, the story ends in yet another failure in friendship, etc. Because you created the end of it. That's very predictable. Yeah, if you want to produce an unpredictable, different outcome and a different ending, you need to allow that uncertainty to be safe for you. So you're directing your conscious mind so that it's kind of aligned with your goals. So if you, let's say, want to create healthy friendships, you got to start acting towards even yourself like a friend you would trust. If you are not keeping promises to yourself, if you are betraying yourself, that's not a friend. That's not a congruent friend. That's not a friend that's gonna, have the other person back, because you don't have your own back. So you have to really investigate. The direction of your conscious mind is directly related to your relationship with yourself. And you're going to see how these stories are really showing you a lot of the self-betrayal and a lot of self-abandonment that you had been doing throughout your life. And again, that might feel overwhelming. That might feel heartbreaking. There will be grief coming up for you. That's okay. Allow it in. You're changing something and you're learning something new. Give yourself credit for that and give yourself love for that, because this is, the act of ultimate love is actually growth and expansion and building those new skills to expand and to grow. So I trust that that was helpful. If you would like to book a session with me specifically to work on the skill building capacity for you, whether that is emotional resilience or direction of your conscious mind or emotional regulation, whatever that is, book a session down below. I'm going to create with you an action plan. You're going to see it's very transparent and easy to follow. There'll be more subtraction than actually adding more into your life. Okay, that's how proper healing looks like. There's a lot of subtraction rather than addition. So like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye bye.